Hello, hello, Sir David the Bard, and I'm coming to you from Kangaroo City down here in Australia, and the little kangaroos, I just gave them a couple of lunches and they're out playing. Listen, I sat here for an hour watching this link that I'm going to give you down below. Now, you know, I don't watch a lot of other people's stuff. I'm not a reader. I'm a reader of scientific information. And I read well and quickly on that. But when somebody's got a novel or they're telling a story, in fact, I don't follow bards. I just don't follow other people. Well, I came upon this particular group of three men talking about Joseph Smith. Now, I thought I knew a lot, because I've been a Mormon over 50 years, and I thought, well, I knew a lot of things that the Mormon Church taught me. Well, anyway, these three individuals start talking about Joseph Smith, and they seem to be well informed from what I can see. Now, I'm not going to endorse them. I'm not going to, because I don't know them. But, you know, one was a visiting professor from the University of Utah, and one was a author. Well, they told stories about Joseph Smith I never heard. And it's long. They're not clowns like I am. It's not fun to watch them, but it's fun to hear the crap that they talk about. I didn't know Joseph Smith was into animal sacrifice. And when the spiritual event didn't happen, he ate the animal. He was hungry. I didn't know how poor this family really was. I didn't know the rock was found in the bottom of a well on a treasure hunt. I'm used to the word treasure hunt from children's books. I'm not used to adults being on a treasure hunt. Well, evidently, Joseph Smith had dug up almost every hill in the state of New York looking for treasure. People hired him to look for money and precious stones and whatever. He was put on trial twice. I thought it was only once. But he was put on trial twice for taking people's money and then not finding anything. Now, if he was such a soothsayer, why was he so poor? Why couldn't he just go out with the rock and get, you know, $80 for himself in the hill? I don't know. God dang. Listen to the background. Listen to the people who were in the community who wrote about Joseph Smith and his family. His father was a soothsayer too. I didn't know that. I knew the father was in on some of the shenanigans, and so was the mother. But Alvin and Hiram, I mean, this was a band of gypsies that were just ripping people left and right. Left and right. Well, I didn't know that, and I thought it was interesting. They seem to be well documented. You can look this stuff up on the internet yourself. And sacrificing animals and the charades and charades. Is there a charade? I think Joseph Smith was a charade. So anyway, I'm not going to belabor this. I'm going to give it over to you. If you find it interesting, fine. I almost turned it off a couple of times, and then it really did start to get more interesting. So if you want to know the real boy, Joseph Smith, and the shenanigans he was in far before, quote, the Mormon Church, and the angel Moroni. Now, I didn't know this. In Joseph Smith's time, treasure was always guarded by an angel or some unseen spiritual being. So Joseph borrowed that idea that the angel told him where the gold plates were. Well, evidently the angel didn't tell him where the gold plates were, because he's walking around with the rock, like a divining rock, looking for the gold plates. So much conflict, so much shenanigans, so much lies, deceit. I mean, this world of magic that Joseph Smith lived in and then passed on to the Mormon people is a tragedy. I'm ashamed that I ever believed in it. I am so ashamed I can hardly lift my face up that I never looked into the history of Joseph Smith and this special prophet bonking up and down on 14-year-olds that God told him this, God told him that. God should have told me. He's a charlatan. Don't give him any money. But anyway, I can say, you know, Pele Ale, oh God, hear the words of my mouth 3 times. Don't rip out my throat, don't rip out my heart, and don't rip out my guts. For penalties, the same, health and enable, marrow in the bones, strength and loins, any power and peace to be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. The name of the second token of the Melchizedek priesthood, the patriarchal grip, or sure sign of the nail. Boy, this boy had an imagination. He had an imagination. Take a look down below.